Hey dolls, welcome back to my channel. Today is episode 21 of Freaky Friday. I know my last video I uploaded on Monday. I ended up getting really busy last week, and every time I tried to finish editing, I just had to do something. So I'm really sorry, but I didn't want to wait till Friday to make you watch that video because it had already been 2 weeks. So if you happen to miss the last video that I uploaded, it was uploaded on Monday, so you might not have seen it. So just be sure to go back to all my videos and you will see it there. I'll also link it at the end of the video so you guys can watch that as well. But I am really excited for today's stories. If you have some stories to submit, please submit them to freakyfridays2019@gmail.com. And also, once again, thank you dolls for all your continued support. As I say in every video, please support this channel by liking, commenting, subscribing, sharing with your friends, just so YouTube's algorithm can see that you are really enjoying this content, and then they can share it to more spooky babes like all of you, and then we could just grow our little spooky cult, because it's really hard to find people who are actually into scary stuff because everyone seems to chicken out about it, but I love it. These are my favorite videos to film. I love incorporating the spooky aspect of it. But that is it. If you are not subscribed, please be sure to hit that subscribe button and that bell notification to be notified when I upload videos. I'm going to get on with these stories and this look, so I hope you dolls enjoy it. Let's get into this look. Okay dolls, so here we have the first story, and it is titled Freaky Fridays, My Crazy Story. Hi Ashley, my name is Jealousy. I've been watching your channel since 2010, 2012. I can't remember the year, but around that time. Love your videos and style. Classy with a dash of sexy. Thank you, babe. Also, you've been watching me since I first started. Thank you so much, babe. So my story is about a night when I was younger, around maybe 7 or 8. I was at home at the time, and I lived with my Nana, and our house was so old. The old story goes a family of 3 or more was murdered in the house, all siblings. The older sister was sadly raped before she was murdered and hung in the basement. Jeez. The 2 younger siblings were hung prior to the older sister. I believe the siblings were 2 girls. The older is included, and 1 boy. So outside of the story, I used to see and feel a lot of things when I was younger. Like a lot, maybe too much, and I hated it. I used to give in, but mostly I would fight it. I didn't understand what it was at the time, but now I do and am able to see things. Back to the night previously mentioned, I'd heard scratching a little earlier and thought nothing of it. We had cats, so I thought it was my cat Nikki. I was in bed trying to fall asleep on my side, and I rolled onto my stomach and looked towards our kitchen. The room I shared with my siblings was like a hallway room, and we could see towards the kitchen and living room. From there, we slept on a bunk bed, so some nights I'd sleep on the bottom, others I'd sleep on the top. Both choices had their spooky downsides. I was in bed and got this nagging feeling like I was being watched. I figured it was just me and closed my eyes to go to sleep when all of a sudden I hear something call my name, Jello. I opened my eyes and looked towards the kitchen. Nothing was there the first time I looked. The second time though, I see what looks like my tata's shadowy figure in the kitchen. Behind the counter, the figure turns and there's glowing red eyes. Oh my gosh, girl, I stopped dead and couldn't look away. I was so scared and felt like I was going crazy. I quickly closed my eyes and prayed to the Virgen, asking her to take this thing away. The next night, I slept on the top bunk, hoping to not see it again. I woke up about the same time, and the same thing was under the bottom bunk, looking up at me, smiling. It jumped at me from under the bottom bunk. It tried grabbing me off the top bunk. It was only able to grab my hair and arm. I quickly yanked both away. It crawled to the top, where it sat in the corner, staring at me, smiling this big horrible smile for what felt like forever. I called to the Virgen again and asked her to take it away forever. And then it wailed from fear or pain. I'm not sure, but as I left, I saw all 3 kids standing in my tia's bedroom doorway, looking at me and crying. I fell back to sleep an hour later. When I woke up, I was bruised on my arm and my scalp hurt where it had pulled my hair. The kids were often seen in our house by me and my siblings. They rationalized while I knew it was something otherworldly. Sorry for such a long story. I have more if you'd like to hear. Hopefully this one wasn't too long and you'll like to hear more, as I'd love to share more. Some are funny, sad, and strange, but I think you'd appreciate them. Thanks anyways. Love you, Ashley. That is terrifying. I would probably freeze too. I always tell myself if I were to ever be in situations like that, I'd get the hell out of there. But honestly, I'd probably be frozen with fear. And it's definitely sad and tragic what happened to those children. And it breaks my heart that they're still connected to that house. But thank you so much, Jealousy, for sharing your stories. Yes, please send more over. This one was not long. It was perfect. Thank you so much, my love. This next story is from Karina, and it is titled The Devil Painting. Hi, love. I have been a fan of yours since 2012 and actually met you at Ink and Iron a while back. I am absolutely obsessed with this series and I'm so excited you kept it going. I finally got my sister hooked too. Oh my gosh, Ink and Iron. Everyone's saying 2012 today. That's so awesome. Thank you guys for sticking around for 7 years. That is incredible. 8 years. 8 years now. Anywho, here's my story. My whole family from my father's side are extremely involved with the Catholic Church. As I send this, my uncle and aunt are in Rome for a meeting with the Vatican. All 8 of my aunts and uncles have special gifts. One can speak in tongues, another can translate them. They've seen visions, healed many people through prayers, and my dad even used to help conduct exorcisms. Dang, that's crazy. There is one specific church they all serve at in Long Beach, where they were having an event and received a huge painting they were going to raffle off. With our luck, my parents won the raffle and we received the painting. It was just a huge painting of Jesus sitting at a table with his hands interlocked, staring right at you with a warm look on his face. My mom immediately hung it up in our living room, where she had an altar and would pray every day. One day, when she was praying in front of it, she noticed the hands looked as though they were moving. She brushed it off and thought it was the Holy Spirit, as she has seen many beautiful things before. This wasn't her first rodeo, lol. Then, weird things began to happen around our house. Things would fall in the living room, and my dad also realized our dog wouldn't go anywhere near the painting. We had a big German Shepherd, and he tested his theory by bringing the painting up to our dog, and he whimpered and ran away terrified. They kept it anyway, and my mom continued to pray in front of it every day. I don't know what she was thinking. Until one day, my mom saw the hands moving and looked closer and realized the painting changed. She said the face looked off. She inspected it and realized the hands actually looked like hooves. The eyes looked evil, and the hair took the shape of 2 horns. She freaked out, and they got rid of it immediately. After doing some research, my mom found that this painting is actually banned from the church because many people reported weird things happening to them after getting it. Supposedly, not all of the paintings are bad, and only some are painted as the devil impersonating Jesus. The painting is called Jesus el Maestro. Here's a picture of it. This is how it looked before it changed. I hope this will make it to one of your videos. I'll be sure to send more, like the time we had to exorcise my sister twice because of La Llorona and other crazy things my family has experienced. Okay, so this is the painting, and I'm honestly scared to look at it because I feel like it's going to change in front of my eyes. So honestly, it's creeping me out right now. So sorry if any of you are creeped out by it, but that is insane that your mom saw that. Definitely send over the exorcism stories. But if anyone has that painting, maybe put it away. Thank you so much, Karina, for sharing your story. This next story is from Lara, and it is titled, I Had a Premonition About My Doggy's Death. Dear Ashley, first of all, I would like to thank you for sharing my story in the first episode on this new channel and your incredibly kind words. You made my day. Second, congratulations on reaching over 4,000 subscribers. I love seeing your new channel growing. You deserve it for all you do. Thank you so much, babe. Oh, I love your stories. They're always so fun. Today, I would like to share a very fresh and very sad story. I had a little doggy named Hercules for 15 and a half years, and he sadly passed away on the 13th of January this year. Oh, I'm so sorry for your loss, babe. Ugh. That's why I don't have pets, because I had 3 and they all passed away, and it's so hard. It was an incredibly sad day, and I miss him very much every single day, every minute. He was like a baby for me. Hercules was such a gentle, fun, kind, and good doggy. We had a very strong bond. I took him to work, so we spent practically the whole day for the 15 and a half years together, with a few exceptions of a few hours when I went to my ballet class or to a supermarket. I attached a photo. So last year during the summer, I started having dreams about Hercules drowning. They felt very real. I am occasionally having dreams that come true, so it freaked me out. In these dreams about Hercules, I was always somewhere on the water. Hercules would swim towards me and then he would suddenly start to sink. I always had to dive very deep so I could save him. The water was always quite clear. I was always able to save him at the last minute. I think I dreamt these dreams for about 3 or 4 months, 3 or 4 times. The last dream I had about Hercules was before Christmas. I dreamt that he died. In my dream, he had to get euthanasia, and I was crying so badly in that dream because I didn't want to let him go. I woke up crying, reaching over to my husband's pillow. Hercules always slept next to my husband and cuddled Hercules, gave him kisses, relieved that he was okay. I still could not shake the feeling that something was not right though. Hercules was very fit despite his age, so normally I would not worry, but there was suddenly a few days in which he would not eat unless I fed him with my hand. I thought his stomach was upset. Sometimes the crows that live in our yard brought him some treats and he ate a little piece of bone or something like that, and then he had to throw up. So I sprinkled the medicine our vet gave us for such occasions on his food and all was good again. Over the last months, Hercules had a few moments when he acted confused shortly, but we thought that was because he did not hear much and he did not see well. The vet told us that old dogs are sometimes just acting like old people do. He had a few great days over Christmas. He was cheerful and happy, but the days in which he needed help eating kept coming back, and then he suddenly changed overnight. I will not go into any details as it might trigger someone, and since it's also too painful for me to describe. Long story short, he probably had a series of strokes. The vet tried one last treatment in case the neurological issue could have been treated, but it did not make any difference. So 2 days later, on Monday, the 13th of January, we had to go to the vet one last time. It was so heartbreaking. Then I realized that this was just like my last dream about Hercules. I think I sensed that something was going on, and I had these dreams as warnings. I had a similar dream 2 nights ago about Hercules drowning again. In that dream, I could get him out of the water. He was unconscious but woke up shortly. He licked my hand and looked at me, and then died in my arms. Maybe this dream was telling me that I did all I could, and he knew that. One more thing about these dreams. 2 days ago, I dreamt about my dad dying. We were walking in Croatia, where we like going on vacation together, on a rocky path on a hill. He fell down several meters and died. After having dreams about Hercules, it worries me. My dad had a heart attack 2 years ago, and even though he recovered, his health is not great. So I hope that this dream will not come true. I am so sorry this is such a sad story this time, and I would totally understand if you would choose not to share it. There are a few more stories I would like to share in the future, and they are not so sad. I also wanted to say that especially now, after I lost my doggy, and while I am still grieving, your videos are such a great help. I was watching episode 20 the other day, and it was just so comforting hearing your voice. Thank you so much for being the light. Sending much love. Thank you so much for sending this over, and I am so incredibly, deeply, truly sorry that your doggy passed away, and I know how it feels to lose an animal that you've been close to. I've lost 3, and they were all over the age of 13, so I had them for a long time. I really hope that does not happen to your dad. I'm thinking positive and hoping that your dad will be okay. I love you, babe. I'm here if you need anything. I'm so sorry for everything that you've been going through, but thank you so much for sharing your stories. And I'm sure all of my viewers appreciate it. This next story is from Sylvia, and it is titled, We Spoke to a Dead Man. Hello, Ashley. My name is Sylvia. I'm Italian, and I've been following you since your first videos. Thank you, babe. I love you and your channel so much. I love you more. Here's my story. A few years ago, I had a show to play with my band at a punk festival. When we arrived, we discovered that there's an abandoned asylum next to the location, so I take my braver friends and we go in. As soon as we enter, we all felt weird. Everything was dark and dusty. There were medical reports and beds with restraints for hands and feet. It was also freezing cold. It was July. As we wander, we meet a man, Mario the Keeper, who tells us stories about the place and gives us a tour. As we go outside, one of our friends who was waiting for us says, "We were getting worried. You stayed there almost an hour and none of your phones worked. We thought we stayed inside only a few minutes. This place is crazy, and the keeper showed us everything and told us stories," says one of my friends. A local guy turns white and asks, "Which keeper?" "Mario," we answer. Mario, a month ago, had a heart attack and was found dead inside the asylum. Of course, we were shocked. At first, we thought he was joking, but then we actually found proof of Mario's death. Other weird things happened that night. Lights went off and on, gears disappeared, and more. It was the craziest show ever. That is freaking creepy. And of course, an asylum, that is like the perfect setting for a horror movie. Oh, and I feel so bad for Mario, who had a heart attack there. Thank you so much, Sylvia, for sharing your story. This next story is from Sarah. "Hi, Ashley. Let me start off by saying that I love you and you're such an inspiration." I love you more, babe. Thank you. "I hope my story makes it to one of your videos. This happened fall-winter of 2013 during the beginning of my relationship with my husband. We live in South Texas, RGV, and it rarely gets cold here, but this night it was freezing and I decided to stay over. A few days before, we had been talking about his late grandfather and how he wished I would have met him. I had only seen a few pictures of him when he was younger, and most of them were blurry black and white pics. The night that I stayed over, I heard footsteps and woke up thinking, shit, we fell asleep on the couch again. When I tried to get up, I looked towards the hallway and saw a figure, but I told myself it's all in my head. But the figure kept getting clearer and clearer. That's when I got chills and freaked out. It looked like my husband's late grandfather. I shook him to wake him up and told him what I saw, and he told me I'm crazy in seeing things. I started describing to him what the man looked like and the colored clothes he was wearing, including the hat he wore. My husband freaked the out. He told me it couldn't be his grandfather because the dead never come back to us and demons always come back as someone we lost to deceive us. I told him that his grandfather didn't have any malicious feeling. I felt peace, like if he was happy to be back home. To this day, he still doesn't believe it was his grandfather and thinks it was something trying to trick me. I keep telling him I know what I saw, and in over a decade of knowing each other, my intuition has never been wrong. Thanks for taking the time to read this, and I will continue to submit more stories. Okay, I know demons do come back to trick people sometimes, but that's when you really have to feel the energy of the entity that's there. And if you're saying you felt at peace, I definitely believe that it was his grandfather that was there, and he, probably just his grandfather knew you guys were talking about him and he really wanted you to meet him, so he made his presence known to you. So I actually think that's really sweet. It's unfortunate that your husband doesn't believe it, but it's okay as long as you know. Thank you so much, Sarah, for sharing your story. Hey dolls, so now we have the last story for today's Freaky Friday, and it is from Kayla. "Hey girl, my name's Kayla. I am a new subscriber and I absolutely love your videos. Here's kind of a long story, so bear with me. This story took place back at the end of 2016. My sister and me lived with our grandpa, and he had went to sleep early that night. So me and my sister stayed up in our room listening to music bored. And around 1 a.m., she asked me if I wanted to sneak out with her to go to her boyfriend's house because his family was having a little party. And Mexican families, we party until the sun is up. So I was like, yeah, I'm down. So we both got ready and left. Her boyfriend's house was like a 10-minute walk from our house, and we got to the house and my sister and her boyfriend's family were drinking and talking, having a good time, and I, on the other hand, was sitting in the corner all uncomfortable because it was my first time meeting everyone. So after a while, I finally started to feel normal. And the party had moved into the living room. My sister's boyfriend's mom had started staring at me, and I started getting uncomfortable because she was looking so hard. And keep in mind, I'm still sitting in this dark hallway because the living room was packed with people. And Victor, my sister's BF, said, "Mom, why are you looking at her?" And she said, "You don't see that?" And Victor said, "See what?" And she started talking in Spanish and started to cry. And I was freaked out at this point because she was crying, pointing behind me. And I was sitting there stiff as a board, not wanting to turn around because I was afraid I was going to see something. And she started yelling, "Leave her alone." So I jumped out of my chair And she said that the whole time I was at the house that she could see black spirits behind me, and they would slowly get closer and closer. And at the end, they were standing directly behind me, trying to get into my body. And I was freaked the out. And I was like, I'm going home. And she said, be careful on your way home. And my sister walked me to the house and ended up going back. It was like 3 a.m. at this point, and I was still spooked about what she was saying. So I stayed up, and outside my door, I can hear what sounded like someone dragging their feet. So I jumped under the blankets, thinking it's my grandpa checking on us. He would drag his feet all the time, so you could always hear when he was coming. And I hear my door slowly crack open and hear him come into the room. And I waited for about 5 minutes for him to get out, and he never did. So I turned around, and no one was in the room. I got up and walked into his room, and he was knocked out, and I was scared. So I ran back into the room, and I heard a loud noise. So I sat up and looked at my door. I can hear our dogs going crazy, barking and growling. I get out of bed, and I see the dogs in the hallway, and they were facing the kitchen. So I walk over there, and the dogs are staring at the corner where the fridge is at. They're backing up, growling, and my cats are all with their backs up, hissing and making weird noises. I turned the lights on, and they all stopped, and the dogs ran around the house trying to find whatever it was they had seen. And I went back to my room, even more scared to what had just happened. I ended up falling asleep, and I woke up to having sleep paralysis. I could see everything around me. At the corner of my wall, I see a demon crawling down, getting closer to the point where he was on top of me, breathing on my face, smelling me, and I was crying, trying to scream, but I couldn't remember. The entity slowly starting to scratch my face with this long fingernail. And I don't know what happened after, but the next thing I knew, it was morning, and I woke up sweating and thought it was all just a dream. But when I had looked in the mirror, there was a scratch across my cheek where the thing had scratched me. I started to cry because I thought I had imagined it all, and I told my sister, and she laughed and told me that I was tripping. But maybe I did imagine it all, and maybe I just had scared myself on accident that night. But still, a part of me believes that something did happen. Well, I hope this makes it into one of your Freaky Friday videos. Much love, Kayla. I want to know why there were multiple entities following you, especially at that party. What was it about you that they were so intrigued with clinging to you? Were you in a negative headspace? I know you were saying you were uncomfortable there, but I don't know. But that is so creepy. And the dream you had, plus your animals were sensing something there, that is so creepy. I hope you never have to experience something like that again. I am so sorry you had to go through that, but thank you so much, Kayla, for sharing your story. So those are all our stories for today. Thank you everyone who has sent in their stories. Now we are going to move on to the outfit just to unspook you guys a bit. All right, dolls, let's get into this outfit. So that is today's look for today. Thank you, dolls, so much for your continued support. I love you so much. I really hope you enjoyed this look. Let me know what look you'd like to see next, and I can't wait to see you next Friday. Bye, loves.